Still, final bans to come out here. Summit, one more ban to go before we can continue. I do like the opening from both sides, actually. Dawnbreaker, of course, being very strong recently. It seems like both teams are kind of fighting over picking up this Death Prophet, so Neon does get that again. I love the Wyvern right now, John, as you would have heard me say about 10,000 times now ever since this new patch came out. This Wyvern, very, very strong position 5 right now. Very hard to fight into as well. Like, it's one of those pos 5s that it has a save, it has a great nuke, it has a great team fight ability, it has that counter initiation. It kind of just has everything, and on top of that, it dominates lanes as well. So it's one of those great picks to have here for Neon. See how it does do, though. Could be matched up against the Dawnbreaker of all things, but then I still think Wyvern does pretty well with Dawnbreaker anyway, so you might not care.
It is really good. Like Arctic Burn on a strength hero, percent-based damage, always good. You saw that reflected in the last game a little bit with the Bloodseeker shards. So it's a good foil for everything what Summit wants to do with the Dawnbreaker, at least. Again, if it's on support, it doesn't feel as bad. But even then, like the lane matchup, if you are running, say, Dawnbreaker 4 line 5 up against a Winter Wyvern 5 lane +1 on the safe, not going to feel good for the Dawnbreaker to look for the angle. So we'll have to see. I think Neon have managed to set themselves up nicely here to maybe find their first series win overall. Again, it's not really going to drag their stats up too much. This is their last series, I believe. So they're going to be tied in 1-6, so not enough to drag them out of the lower spot. But again, you would want to close the season out with at least a win. Summit do pick up the Grimstroke, so it is looking like our Dawnbreaker is a core Dawnbreaker with the Lion and Grimstroke support duo. Really strong combinations here for Summit. Soulbind, double Hex, double Earth Spike, double Finger, all really good with line. So it's a great solution to kind of just burst down whoever is cold embraced. You have some good combinations. If you run the Grimstroke 5 with the Dawnbreaker 1, Inkswell plus Hammer in, with Celestial Hammer in, and the Starbreaker on top of that, it can be a good amount of chain stun to play aggressively in lane. So I like what Summit has. I think it should lead to them maybe looking for some opportunities. Neon, though, into the snap and straight pickup so far for Neon. Back-to-back into the DK as well. And Summit also not taking too much into the Batrider, knowing that there's nothing to stop that lasso here. And now you also have double lasso to worry about. So lots of back and forth. Looks like both teams know what they want to do for the last game, and that gives me confidence both sides will look to play to their strengths and play to maybe a faster pace here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this DK DP is what every team in this series just wants right now. Between these two teams, just constantly fighting over these two. I love the Batrider pick though into the picks of Neon. Obviously, the Batrider gonna have a very good time against that Dragon Knight and pretty much anyone else that Neon has drafted as well. So could be a very good game already for Summit. Not to underestimate Neon's draft, though. We kind of talked about it during Game 1 for Summit, that you have a pretty nice power spike here with this kind of draft. And very hard to control if you do fall far behind if you are Summit. See what happens, though. Again, you kind of brought it up. Neon, sadly, not much to play for apart from just a better-looking scoreboard. Summit, they do have something to play for. So desperately kind of wanting this 2-1 victory here against Neon Esports. Any predictions, John? Any predictions for the position 1s of both teams to come out?
I think Summit can still flex Dawnbreaker 1 or Dawnbreaker off lane. With this kind of draft, you would want the stronger pause 1 position to kind of scale into the late game. So likely Dawnbreaker off lane. With this kind of lineup, physical cores against Winter Wyvern feel awkward, but range cores don't feel too bad. Maybe you could get away with something like a Drow in this game. Life Stealer does come out from Neon, so you have some good infest targets with the DK on hand. You have some cheeky combinations online. If, say, our Snapfire manages to farm an Ags up, you can just infest into DK, get gobbled up, spat out. Suddenly 2 heroes are on top of you ASAP. So that could be one way to get things done as well, though we never tend to see the Ags on Snap until maybe 14 minutes in for the support.
Yeah.
Likely not a thing, but with the Life Stealer up, yeah, just take a range core. You don't really care too much about rage in this game. Batrider can kind of deal with that, so you always have last to go through. TB would be nice. Morphling's a pretty good answer to that as well. Especially once the Scotty's up, you can just kite around the Life Stealer. That does give a couple of caveats. You are picking Morphling into Winter Wyvern. You're not the longest ranged core. That Curse can still catch your teammates in with you around. So I can expect Neon to maybe play around that potential, but keen to see what Unknown does. I think we have seen an Ags game, Morphling already. I want to say, were you? I feel like you were covering that, and it was Savage playing it. And did he go
Yeah.
Ags?
No. That was another game you and I were covering, and we were both wondering why Ags was being built in the first place.
Right.
I don't think we even came to an explanation to that because the Morphling lost, naturally, because it was building Ags. So let's see how it goes, John. I mean, it's a very valuable Morphling game. Like, you've got a Winter Wyvern to morph into, so you can take Arctic Burn. You've got the Lifestealer, which is more important for the Morphling, because now you've got that inbuilt Rage available in the Morph. There's a lot of value here for the Position 1 Morphling for Unknown. Overall, though, Jonathan, which draft do you think you prefer going into this game number 3?
I think I prefer Summits. I think if you look at Neon, it's very stable. They've got high durability cores. I don't think they have enough burst to punish something like the Morphling, even with the Arctic Burn. It still feels pretty good for the Morph to kind of sit true. And I think my one concern here is that for Neon, we've seen most success from them when Avatar mode's playing a highly mobile, very flashy hero. He's playing that DK.
Right.
It can still be flashy with a blink timing. You don't expect that mid matchup to really go to DK's way. Batrider has a good time, especially once level 4 is up, when you've got the threat of 2 levels in Napalm and potentially the Flame Break and the Firefly as well. So it can be a bit tougher for Avatar mode to just farm that lane. And I think that mid momentum for Summit's just going to feel a lot stronger here.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into it, John. I kind of agree with you on the drafts, but, you know, then game 2 happens, so I'm not sure what to say. We'll go into game number 3, though. We'll see how this does work out. Of course, Neon, I mean, it does seem like they want to try and pull off a victory before they do have to get relegated out of Division 2, so, I mean, why the hell not? You know, finish off with a bang if you can. We'll see if Summit are going to allow that to happen here in game number 3 as we do get into it. We'll see. I mean, every game as well, John, First Blood has been drawn before the game's even started. So it'll be interesting to see if we have that a third game in a row.
Yeah, I don't think Neon wants to clump up against what Summit has. I think their AoE control in Summit's a lot better. Earth Spike, potentially Starbreaker, even just the Celestial Hammer is also pretty painful. So we'll have to see. It does look like they're not quite clumping up as hard here, Mike. So maybe not willing to give that window out to Summit. They are looking down bot, though, but they don't really have stuns. They go with Scatterblast and say they've got a good amount of slow with Arctic Burn. Could be one way to play. They've got Vision out already, spotting out our Morphling. Nice forward ward. But again, not looking for that aggression. Respecting that level 1 potential here from Summit.
There's still Neon. They are kind of grouping up in this high ground of the Radiant Jungle. It doesn't seem like Summit are going to be around, though. They kind of go towards the left side of the map, and they just want to secure the other bounty runes. There is still potential, though. Trezam getting a little bit cheeky here with his position, but he'll see Say in the tree line. That'll be enough for him to stay away from the Snapfire. On the other side of things, Unknown will cop a bit of damage here against the Wyvern. In fact, I say a bit. He is forced to strength morph a lot more than he would like to, I'm sure, but should be able to heal himself up with a couple tangos, no problems. The beauty of the morph is just being able to morph all the way to Agi and just tango up. So in this kind of meta where you don't have as much regen, feel a little bit better on the Morphling. Still, we'll start off with the bottom lane. Of course, you are going to have this morph by Unknown and Trezam on the position 5 Grimstroke against Chuan on the pos 4 Wyvern. And of course, Enri, you're going to be there on the position 3 DP once again. Jonathan, how do you expect this bottom lane to go?
I think it's going to be a little bit more passive for Summit. They're just going to look to farm. You can look for aggression on Neon. They've got better damage output, better trade potential here with their 2 ranged cores. You can't really play with the Inkswell combinations here for Summit, not at least until you've got your Morph. I'd say level 4 is when you're comfy in this lane. So you can't really expect them to be too aggressive. As long as you keep that Morphling suppressed, it can be hard to flash farm. And that is what Neon's looking to do pretty nicely in the first few levels. You do start with Headrest here on Trezam, so Unknown's not going to be feeling too torn up that he's out of tangos. Same thing goes for Chuan. The Headrest mate is fully in play in the spot lane, Mike.
Absolutely. Of course, over into the mid lane, Avatar mode and Mercury going to be going at it here on the Batrider versus DK matchup. John, I don't think I need to ask you this because I realize it's going to always be a Batrider favored matchup here, but is there anything Avatar mode needs to do in particular to remain alive and contest this mid lane?
Value point in the Dragon Tail, it's going to be important to cut off any Firefly plays, and already having the full wand up is also great, so you just kind of need to respect that spacing from Mercury. Once he hits level 3, that's when things get scary, and he does hit 3 now, but doesn't have the lane shoved in his favor to go for the rundown. So Avatar Mode doing a good job of just managing, finding his own farm, playing around with a Breed Fire, and just having the full stick charges up. He could just pop it and wait for the reset. Mercury's probably just going to keep spamming Napalm anyway. Can get some mana back, but not pertinent. He does go for level 2 Breed Fire, so looking for more wave clear. That is punishable. If Mercury sees that opportunity, you don't have the stun to stop that chase.
Bottom lane, Shazam getting very low on the Grimstroke, but it's going to be able to survive the onslaught that was coming in from Chuan. Let's talk about top lane. Neon going to have Sei and Fortune Soul there against CZY and Crush, and we know how powerful this Dawnbreaker can be during the laning stage. You've even got a nice way to set up here with the Lion Earth Spike. Fortune Soul, he's not doing too badly in farm, but it's very clear he is somewhat afraid as they do land the stun combination. They don't really chain it that well though, so it looks like Fortune Soul is going to be just fine. But it does appear the Lifestealer is very wary of the kill potential here from Summit.
Yeah, he's not going for the early points in Rage, not something the Lifestealer really wants. You do want the Ghoul Frenzy to trade hits with Crush, but it's not too bad for the Dawnbreaker. You already have that early Blightstone along with the early Bracer, so it's very favorable to trade hits, and as long as they keep finding the angles, it's never going to be comfy for Fortune Soul. Like, you already have the Luminosity up, some of the swipes in the Starbreaker will feel a lot better, especially when that's up, and you just have to respect that. It's a slower start for Fortune Soul, very strong lane for Crush. There is the threat of Cookie forward with the Rage up from Fortune Soul, but again, not quite the most aggressive lane for Neon to play around with. Same thing as Summit's safe lane Suffering. You know, you're not looking to be aggressive in either of these safe lanes right now.
Absolutely not. Still no first blood being drawn from either side yet. Unknown very, very low in HP though, has to be very cautious on the Morphling, but just going to kind of force himself to strength morph, and Shazam does actually have a salve available, and top lane is where the first blood actually ends up occurring. Crush able to secure first blood onto Sei on the Snapfire. So if you can't kill the Lifestealer, just go for the support instead, and that's exactly what Summit ended up doing here for first blood.
Yeah, just a bit too far forward. They were trying to be aggressive with the Cookie, making a move onto CZY, but instant Hex out, no Rage to save, and it's just an easy rundown onto Sei afterwards. You are starting to get to the point where the Dawnbreaker feels scary. Boots of speed up into the phase boots, the right clicks amp up. With that Blightstone, you can still make short work of the support and, of course, the Lifestealer. So, have to watch how much you give to the Dawnbreaker. An early level 6 could mean an early rotation with the Lasso play as well. Very easy to line up Lasso and everything else.
He could be in a bit of danger, but CZY, he's going to get in range just in time to get the Earth Spike off, and Fortune Soul not going to be able to keep going any further. And Crush trying to get a little bit aggressive there with the Starbreaker, but now Neon are really trying to give it to the Dawnbreaker. Kind of warn Crush that he can't just do exactly what he wants in this top lane. The problem is, Crush is still kind of doing exactly what he wants in the top lane, as he's second in CS only to the Dragon Knight right now, so things are still going very well for this Dawnbreaker off lane. Problem is, John, you look back into the mid lane, Mercury has not had the lane he would have once expected. Actually behind in CS by about 15 against the DK, and it doesn't seem like any form of aggression's really paid off for him.
I never saw that opportunity to threaten with the Firefly and the sticky Napalm, and kind of can dip in and out of the jungle, but you have this great start out now for Avatar mode. Threatens the tier 1 a little bit with the Dragon form, gets some good damage off, has the Dragon Tail to interrupt if Mercury does run in. So you are kind of set up on your mid here for Neon. It's still a bit of a slower game. Both sides, again, not looking for that aggression just yet. But having this momentum from mid will help the cause, as Batrider, for all his early presence, does require a little bit of farm. Travels, BKB, Blink. Gonna take a while to get all of that build up. Crush still trying to work that lane here.
Look at this, John. Top lane. Sei's trying to sneak up from the fog. He has Cookie, but he won't land it. Crush was ready. In fact, turns around now with the Celestial Hammer, but they have the Scatter Blast. Crush, what are you doing? He's gonna run just in the nick of time. He'll survive on 30 HP. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they do find the DK. Oh, he was really playing on the edge there with the Dawnbreaker. He will go back to the fountain now, but my god, that was risky.
That was very risky. Does pay off. I don't know what you really get there. At least you keep the Snapfire kept up top, looking for that kill. So there's no TP rotation to help out your DK. And they got that great opportunity to use that first Lasso regen rune as well for Mercury. Feeling really good now on the Batrider, starting to catch up. And that's the recovery you need on that hero, is ahead in terms of net worth over Avatar mode, but not by much. Very even farm across both sides here. Very even game, 2-0, less than 1k lead for Neon, but it's not really biggest. I think the one outlier right now is how badly Unknown's lane has gone. Again, Morphling laning phase here isn't particularly amazing, not very long range. Enry still has an angle to be aggressive. So Summit has to find a way to give the recovery towards Unknown, allow this Morphling to farm up, hit the spikes that Morphling tends to hit, and just prevent Neon from getting that early momentum going here.
Well, 2-0 for now, John. Very slight net worth lead Neon's way. I mean, you really are just hoping to follow the tempo off this DK and the DP, because Enryu's had a very good time in the off lane as well as Avatar mode, of course, in the mid lane, as we've already talked about. And, well, for Summit, bit of an awkward scenario now for them, right? Because you haven't really got a Batrider that's done too well. Like, yeah, he finds the kill into the Dragon Knight mid lane just earlier, but you're going to need a bit more there from Mercury to really get this game going for Summit. In the meantime, for Neon, I suppose you're just going to try and catch up on farm here for Fortune Soul, but he's not doing too bad. Third in CS right now, the Lifestealer. You know, keeping up. And I just realized we paused as well, John, so is the lag going to come back is now the real question. Am I going to have to reconnect to the game once again?
You can't wait to see, Mikey.
Yeah.
And we'll find out sooner rather than later where that lag is. I want to say, do you know that song, Mikey?
Which one?
I know. The one that goes like, it's just a little crush.
No, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that one.
You know what?
That was in...
If you're gonna sing, I expect you to go all out. Don't whisper it like that. They can still hear you, John. Don't whisper it.
Yeah, I forget who sang it. It was in... I remember watching that Bruce Willis space movie where he's a miner that goes to an asteroid. Was it Armageddon? I think it's Armageddon. I watched it when I was like 8 for some reason. My mom let me watch that kind of film, and
Right.
I remember that song in the credits, and it was just like, that song played in my head when Crush ran away. It's just so fitting. You know, it's just nice and epic. Just bailed out. Just a little Crush, Mike.
Oh, feel free to sing it later on if Crush gets away again, John. I'm sure we'd all appreciate the entertainment from JohnXFire himself. Still, I believe there is a limit on pause time right now, is there not? Because one of the teams paused quite a lot for game 1, unless we reset it for game 3.
Game.
Okay,
yeah, I
it's
believe it's per game, Ricky.
Right.
So, yeah, they've got time.
In that case, Jonathan, a question I haven't asked you in a very long time, but have you had merienda today?
You know, I haven't, but we went to the mall this morning. We sent some extra parts to our stall. We brought some donuts home. So I've got some nice Bavarian donuts waiting for me after this use with some coffee as cream filling.
Well,
Very
what's
nice.
a Bavarian donut, Jonathan? I've never had a Bavarian donut.
Really? They're like, you know, they're like, in America, I think they call them like jelly donuts. You know, they're just the thicker donut stuff. Except it's not jelly. It's like this nice cream. What's the word I'm looking for? Like almost like a flanny cream.
Flanny?
Yeah, it's really nice. Like somewhat. It's like a thicker cream. You know, it's not as airy as say sprayed whipped cream. Is what I'm saying.
Well, what?
This is going all the way south now, Mike.
It is, but I've got to ask you, what's flanny cream? And don't. That sounds so
flan.
bad.
You know, like flan, like a flan. Flan. What is a flan? Like leche flan.
Be very careful how you explain
custard.
this one, John.
Yeah, custard was the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's less than custardy.
Okay.
We've gotten a heads up. There's some spoilers, and I guess this is fine. I don't know if this is fine to say, but there is a spoiler for the later series, and I've got the context for why. But there is a switch up in the roster later on for the Div 1 series. So that is interesting to note. I know exactly why, because Zach messaged me last night being a drama queen.
Well, hold on.
Calm down, Zach.
You've already made it obvious what team it is now, because you've said Zach. So, well, hold on. Now Unknown's saying what's the issue, so let's listen to this first before I ask you to tell the story. Unknown, is he going to get a question? Going to get an answer? To be fair, he has not put a question mark.
So John has to reply in...
Oh, they
Mandarin,
understand.
So I have no clue. Of course, nice try. Could someone quickly Google Translate for that for us? Thank you. I'm gonna actually get Nina on this. Open up his phone.
Okay.
Get some work in,
Well, go on, John. Tell us the story. Like, you've already kind of exposed which team it is later on tonight, so you may as well give the spoilers. If the admins didn't want us to say it, they wouldn't have told us. What's happening, John?
Okay, so this is the story of Boom Esports.
Okay.
They switched team houses, right? Everyone noticed they were playing in Team Secret's Filipino Valorant home for a while.
Right.
I believe 2 weeks. And now the boys are in Indonesia, so you would know if you follow their socials. They are there for a very specific reason. To bypass the Filipino visa system. So they're there to work out their American visas because bookings in the Philippines, there are no bookings until next year. So if anyone's going to the major from here, you're pretty much out of luck. You should have made that choice apparently a year ago.
Right.
And they're in Indonesia. And Zach was being a drama queen. Apparently one of them got sick.
Oh.
And Zach was like, we're all gonna die. We're gonna die. Thanks for everything, John. I'm like, what? Hold on, Zach. Who's dying? And it's like, oh, we just got positive. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not the end of the world. So they've got a sub in today.
Okay.
And okay, we don't need to spoil who's the sub. Let's keep that spice for later.
All right.
You guys have something to look forward to, but there is going to be a sub in. And if you guys watch the series later for Div 1, which you should, make sure to spam chat with Zach. Just spam Zach.
Spam Zach.
Just let Zach know that he's loved. I know.
Zach gets too much love, doesn't he? Like, he's in every camera shot.
Guess.
Every time.
He is.
Somehow, every time a team wins, his team wins, he's behind the actual player that's going to get zoomed in on by production. Like, without a doubt, Zach will be right behind the player that they're going to zoom in on for the camera. Every time.
Yeah.
How does he
just
do
have
it?
a Zach cam?
Well, we should have a Zach
have
cam.
a cam for Zach.
But how does he know exactly what
I don't
camera to
know.
go behind every time?
To manage your sense.
Right.
A bit of a funny story because I don't think anything's going to happen to me on pause for a little bit. My dad is in a different city right now, and then he just randomly messages me. Says, do you know an Isaac Alphon from Team Rivalry? Not Boom! Not Boom, Team Rivalry. He's like, I met his aunt. And it's like, I'm not sure who got it wrong. Did my dad get it wrong, or did the aunt say Team Rivalry?
Wait, how do they know your dad?
I know my dad just talks to people, and then suddenly he must have mentioned esports somehow. And then this lady's like, oh, I know esports. Do you know this guy from this Team Rivalry? And it's just all wrong info, but it leads to the right conclusions, Mike. It's just hilarious.
Your dad's already showing off about his famous son now, huh? My famous son, johnxfire. Have you heard of John? johnxfire. I'm his dad. That's what he's doing, huh?
It's actually annoying. He does that sometimes, and I just don't know how to react. Like, so someone comes in for the internet, they ask him, okay, why do you guys have such a high internet speed? It's like, oh, my son's a caster. It's like, Pop, please, no. They don't know. They don't know. No one cares, okay? Just chill. I'm just here.
Oh,
It's just a job.
Must be nice to have a supportive dad. Shout out to Mr. Fernandez. He's you complaining, John. I'd love to have that kind of support.
You know what could have used some support there, Mike? The bot tier 1. Falls for free for Neon. No support from Summit. Just give up. I mean, it's been a tough lane. For Unknown, they can't really defend, so forced to surrender makes the time tougher for the Morphling to find that build up. Looking like a good start for Neon. No kills on the board yet, but it's all about objectives. They do manage to take more, play with this push lineup of DP, DK. Once the level 6 up on Enryu, you can expect them to make a good swing towards mid and just take over the jungle.
So far, so good. Neon, they got the net worth lead to go their way now. A very slow game between these two teams so far, but Exorcism up on Enryu can certainly try and make full use of that, especially once the next Dragon form is up, which is in about 45 seconds. If you are Neon, what you really want to do right now is wait for that Dragon form and start connecting mid with Enryu. You send the DP, send the DK mid, start focusing down that mid tier 1 tower, and Summit, after the mid tier 1's gone, are going to struggle because you have a POS 1 Morphling who does require a lot more time to be online, and probably will rely on the triangle a bit later on. See if Neon do it though. They're already kind of grouped up mid. You just need to drag Enryu up towards that mid lane, and again, he does have his ulti up. You always want to get that on cooldown when you can, especially if it does mean that mid tier 1 tower to drop.
Yeah, just go for the objective play. Keep building up on that advantage here for Neon's end. Summit, though, not feeling too dissuaded. Mercury having the travels up along with the Windlace can run people down.
Oh, this is a great pickup. This is a great pickup to Summit. Enryu getting caught, being a little bit too greedy, is going to get punished immediately and Unknown. He'll be the one to take the kill. And for Enryu, again, this is that timing you wanted to connect with your team. Neon, they've rushed up top trying to catch Crush. They won't find him though. He's just fine to get his way out of there, and it's a pretty big loss for the side of Neon. Because again, you really want to pop that ulti if you can as the DP.
Yeah, they've got some time. Respawn, TP up top. They could go for this top tower push. Avatar mode has popped the dragon form. They should be able to find this objective. Summit is around for the defense. They've got Solar Guardian to play with as well, so they could try to make the jump without the lasso. That lack of control can be a bit crippling here.
Cookie barely misses out there from Sei. They will pop the Exorcism though, Enryu. They don't really want to go too far, it seems. Like, it's still very scary into Crush. Let's have that Solar Guardian up. They might just wait for the Firefly to wear out though from Mercury. Obviously halt a lot of the vision that Summit's getting right now for this team fight, as well as a lot of the damage that Mercury will be relying on. And now with a great Cookie setup, Sei doing exactly what he needs to, but the Soulbind to try and turn this one around. The Infest is there, everything fine here for Neon as they'll keep going for the top tier 1 tower. A nice deny from Crush, but Neon, they got what they came for. They'll just back off, and hell, they might even go for a bit of a fight here, unknown. Getting kind of run down by Fortune Soul, but surely no chance of the Lifestealer getting this kill. Unknown won't even bother strength morphing for that. But back to my point, John, as Neon, now you really want to just focus down that mid tier 1 tower.
Yeah, take out all the outer towers. Ensure you can take over that bot jungle. Cut off the farm sources of Unknown down the line. They've been doing a good job of just recognizing this early spike. Although,
Chuan, he'll get hit with the Starbreaker. He actually makes it to the high ground with the Inkswell. It's going to have enough damage along with the Remnant out from Shazam, so he'll take the kill. Meanwhile, down at bottom lane, Fortune Soul will go for a bit of a run. The Mercury will go for a bit of a chase. Flame Break is actually going to connect so he can land the lasso, but the Cookie actually ends up landing somehow. It's just not going to matter. Fortune Soul goes down anyway. That was a very interesting Cookie, John. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he cooked the Lifestealer as he got lassoed, and even though he didn't move, Mercury still got stunned by that.
yeah, and there was also a very interesting hex earlier from CZY. I think he ended up hexing a creep. I heard the sound. I just didn't see the Lifestealer. He managed to rage. So a little bit of a back and forth there. Does work out for Summit in the end. They find a big kill they want, keeping that Lifesteal down. Bottom network core. Hard to flash farm in this here as well without anything like the Maelstrom. So you are kind of giving chances for Summit. Pulling ahead now on Unknown, although...
Yeah, mid lane, nice initiation, but the Solar Guardian might just buy enough time. Mercury still surviving somehow, but eventually does drop. Now the curse is expended onto the Dawnbreaker, but he's all alone. Instead, they'll chase down Avatar mode on the Dragon Knight, but he's going for a runner's crush. Is trying to keep up, but has no mana to throw out the Celestial Hammer and slow him down. He was just barely off by about 10. And so Neon, they get away with a free kill onto the mid Batrider, and well, now they could slowly try and set up for the mid tier 1. Problem is they do not have Dragon Form up, so it looks like they're just going to wait it out a bit.
You know what's interesting here, Mike? Take a look at the item builds right now. Crush going for a BKB, and so is Mercury. So they are ready. They've recognized their mistakes from game 1. They realize BKBs are good. Game 2, yes. Going back to what they did in game 1, going for those early BKBs. Gonna be big spikes once you've got that in the Dawnbreaker and on the bat. Of course, you can't stop the lasso, you can't stop the Solar Guardian. You'll always have an angle in. Neon have to be careful. And they've taken out these side towers, which is great. The mid is still really healthy from the side of Summit. And it feels like if they don't find that objective soon, it's just gonna allow this farm. Like, Unknown's just climbing up. Number 2 in net worth now. Has the full Dragonlance into the Yasha. He's still going to need a lot more stats on top of everything else, but you are giving him that opportunity to just be that massive win condition for Summit. And again, your Lifestealer is just not able to do much. Yeah, he's getting space. It's just not fast farm. Lifestealer is just not that quick.
It's just not going to favor him later. Like, against the Morph, you give that free rage away, and it's just not fun against the Morphling whatsoever here for Fortune Soul. I think you mentioned it during the draft, John, but you get an Eye of Skadi on the Morphling eventually, and it just doesn't... The Lifestealer does nothing. Mid lane, though. Neon. Try and move in. Stun is out. They've caught the Dawnbreaker. In the mid lane, Crush does get stunned up a second time, but now the lasso's out onto the DP as Crush somehow still alive. The kisses came too late, but what a great curse. Shazam is going to drop, but they got Enryu anyway. There's Crush. He does eventually fall on the Dawnbreaker. And they'll give their pos 3 DP away for those 2 kills. Still worth it for Neon. Not the greatest team fight, but certainly still worth it.
Worth it, but it also cuts off their aggression onto the mid-tier 1 without the DP, without Exorcism having been popped in that fight. You don't have that opportunity to push in on that objective, and I think the Summit's still happy with the overall macro game gains they gain from there. Saving their tier 1, preventing that aggression onto the mid, saving their Morphling as well from any overtly deep dives. Sure, you're sacrificing your offlane, the BKB is still going to be farmed up from Crush, and you are still buying that space. So it's just the stall game for Summit, prevent the objective game from Neon, and again, just hit those early timings. Blink almost up in CZY, doesn't want to die here.
Great for the line if he could set up. Solar Guardian's going to fly through. Say, he got caught out, but they want the DK. They'll turn around with the Starbreaker, but it won't land to stun. Instead, the Earth Spike will get it done now as the finger is going to come out onto Avatar, and eventually he is going to drop. As Say is still controlled up. The neutral trying to do him a favor. Say, can he hope for the best? No, he'll go for the CS instead. And in the meantime, even Chuan goes down mid lane. Unknown, he finds a bit of a solo pick off onto Chuan, and it's 3 down on the side of Neon for nothing.
Yeah, it's looking good now for Summit. They're finding the items they need, they're finding the aggression they want. They've got the blink up in CZY, easier initiation from our Lion. They do manage to get some good damage in the mid-tier 1. The siege creep was there. Unknown doesn't kill it fast enough. Does get some work in, dropping that tier 1 mid to 329 HP. It is within fighting range now for Neon to kind of clump up for. They really need to take that objective away and prevent any further losses. But now the early BKBs are up. Mercury has his. Our Dawnbreaker is 100 gold away, around 70 gold actually away from hers. So you're hitting this spell immunity point where your damage output from the kisses disappears. The presence of your DP also kind of fades a little bit. Regen rune once more for Mercury as well. Great rune control coming out from Summit. He's going to be free to do what he wants in the middle of this with that BKB.
Mid lane. A bit of a jump in here for the Batrider with the lassos. He's got the BKB up. Nice setup from CZY. Flame Break gonna knock them back, but it's too late. Say, he does save with the cookie, and now with the Scatter Blast knocks back the Batrider. So Mercury not able to get the setup he wanted. Even with the BKB available, he just doesn't end up popping it. And now, I mean, there's a smoke rotation. Keep in mind that BKB he has is now available for this fight, but Unknown is going to get caught out. Mortimer's kisses are there, but do they have the damage? Unknown, he's fine. He's just going to waveform out of there. And they just don't have enough damage output. The Strength Morph comes out in time, and Unknown just walks out.
Really well timed from Unknown, a bit on the edge. Does manage to waste a lot of spells there.
Solar Guardian is going to fly through the curse. It will not hold them back. They'll get Enryu down. The tier 1 mid tower to stand as Mercury still doesn't actually have the lasso, but can just chase them down with the BKB as now they just really run them down. Chuan's gone. Say, probably not going to make it out either. As Unknown will pick up another kill on the Morphling. They're right into the mid tier 1.
Yep, gonna get that push going. Really good turns out from Summit, playing around with their sustain well, and knowing that they're strong. Double BKB means they can just run up, not care in the world. Neon can't do anything to stop that unless they commit the curse, and just instantly smoke up after taking that mid-tier 1. Looking for more, still have the finger ready. Again, fresh blink on CZY. Make short work of anyone that shows up to farm. Avatar mode gets a good redo. Does TP away. Not be able to find anything on the bot. But 6k lead now for Summit, Mike. Neon, I mean, they just haven't made progress. They've not been able to find mid. The team fight's been a bit scattered. They do manage to try to get aggressive with the smoke blink out, but it's just not in targets they can really handle at the moment.
Certainly not. Top lane, a bit of an attempt here from Mercury, but again, no lasso up right now. Bottom lane, Fortune Soul by himself, but there's not enough heroes here from Summit to try and chase down the Lifestealer. Fortune Soul, he has help around the corner if necessary. Goes back to that point you made earlier though, John. Unknown is just out farming him, and now bot lane, they found him. Mercury, he just shows up on the Batrider, and that was without the lasso again. They must have just got their Hex off into the Earth Spike.
It's just the blink. CZY gets a good position. They push too forward on Fortune Soul. Gets a bit greedy trying to clear out the creep wave and is punished for it. You have to respect that mobility out from the side of Summit. They are down finger, but lasso is up, so you can still kind of play aggressive here on the side of Summit. It does look like they're more than satisfied with just keeping this game suppressed. Although Mercury is looking to be aggressive here.
Won't find anything down at the bot lane. He'll just TP back for a reset now, but he has a blink up on that Batrider. Just boarded, in fact. It's Chuan. But top lane could be in a spot of danger himself. He does have that blink up himself, though, if he needs to try and get himself out, and looks like he's going to be just fine to blink out before he gets caught. Avatar mode getting close to having his own BKB now on the Dragon Knight, and there's a BKB on Enryu to come out, so this next team fight could be very bad for Summit if they get caught with their pants down. And Neon certainly looking ready for the next team fight, if anything, but Say, well, he's going to break the smoke here for the team. It looks like they're just going to let the Snapfire die, not rushing for anything, though there is an aggressive blink in from Mercury, but Fortune Soul is going to be okay. They hold on to the lasso, and they're going to have it if they want to force in this mid-tier 2 tower. Keep in mind, though, John, that's double BKBs now out on Neon.
It's going to be interesting to see the BKB on BKB. It feels like you have more Fierce, although.
Nice setup. He's got the Batrider there. They just need to follow up on this, and Avatar Mode's going to move right in with the stun out. That's going to be Mercury gone already. Crush, he's going to keep trying to keep the fight going, but needs to BKB TP out of there, and will try to do so. Meanwhile, Enryu, he ends up losing his life to Unknown. The Morphling just hitting a little bit too hard now. It's a Solar Guardian. Gonna fly right back through onto Trezam. Meanwhile, the Lifestealer, Fortune, he's been in trouble. Say, he also gets caught out. They are just getting demolished here in the mid lane as Neon. And the fight just drags out way too long. Crush, he'll have the hammer. He'll throw it out and get another kill. Avatar mode still trying to run. Meanwhile, towards the north, they found Chuan. And Avatar, he's not out of the woods yet either, John. CZY is going to find him here on the Lion. And Unknown, he's going to have his way with it. That's a full team wipe now for Summit. If they get this kill, that is. Don't want to call it too fast. In fact, never mind. Avatar mode, he'll get one kill. How much can he get done here? Mercury, he'll get the vision with the fire flying. Oh, lasso will be committed. Maybe something they did not really want to waste right now, but will you consider that, John? That's a Batrider that didn't even need to lasso that last team fight, and well, now they just get a full team wipe.
I mean, Mercury died very early on in the last engagement from that Winter's Curse, so he didn't have the opportunity to do so. They still managed to find big wins. Neon, I mean, this is their timing. They've got BKBs, but it's just hard to pull the angles off. That was a decent curse coming out from Chuan, but they didn't manage to catch in the Morphling, and they didn't have the follow-through. And Ryu Blink walks up, doesn't really have much to do, even with the BKB, and just melts. And this is worrying, because they're melting to the Morphling without the Scotty up. Once Unknown has that full Scotty, you're not even going to be able to play the sustained game with your Winter Wyvern and the DP, and even with your Lifestealer right-clicks, it's not going to feel good. So we'll see if Neon can manage to hold true. They're also starting to build into their own Scotty here for Fortune Soul.
Nice setup. Yeah, CZY down a bot lane. Very patient, just waiting for Chuan to show up, and Crush, no hesitations with the Solar Guardian. Just throws it out, wants the kill, and will take the kill.
Yep. Gonna find themselves another build-up on the finger kill. 4 kills on the mark for CZY. And on point so far in this game. Love that build up for Crush. He is going for what was a Desolator. Yeah, still the Desolator into a Basher. So you have a lot of output now on the Dawnbreaker. Actually, it just looks like straight into the Basher here. So more stuns, more control through the BKBs. We've seen that before. I always remember Dream Assault's pause 1. That Basher is menacing.
Oh, nice setup. They found Trezam. That'll be one down here for the side of Neon. So Summit just going to back themselves out, not trying to force a fight. That Grimstroke died, but there is another smoke immediately here from Neon. They want more than that. They know they've got a favorable team fight here as well if they can find another. Avatar mode, he's going to have to blink onto the high ground. Blind and CZY, he just blinks right out. It's just way too late from Avatar mode. Too much hesitation. And they're picking Roshan instead. You've got the BKB up, which is why I'm kind of shocked that Avatar mode hesitated to blink in. It won't matter though, I suppose Neon just being very cautious not to throw any more gold back the way of Summit. To be fair, they are 8k behind right now, so just wanting a favorable team fight for themselves, but well, now if you're Summit, you might just group up and smoke up yourself.
You've got the opportunity to do so. Maybe a little bit of patience. The Scotty's almost done here for Unknown, but they will smoke up as 5 anyway. See if they find the angle. They've still got good forward vision around the map. That should lead to a nice flank here.
Chuan, he's in position to break the smoke. Actually doesn't get broken somehow yet. Chuan alive, but eventually they are going to see him.
Ah.
Oh, here we go. Curse is there to hold them down now. Can be a little bit complicated when you get the shards up on Dawnbreaker, John, because then you've got a right click to move during the Starbreaker, but, you know, bit of an awkward mistake.
It's something we've all experienced when playing Dawnbreaker at some point. Still, not the biggest loss. You force out the curse, so that opens up Roshan. Neon knows this is happening. Need to find a way to stop this, but Unknown's damage is there with a Scott.
Well, he has another chance. He'll go on to say, pops his BKB early on, but he's got the Snapfire down, that the buybacks will be there. Crush, he will TP up for a reset, but keep in mind, he's got the Solar Guardian, so he can come right back in, and will do so. On to CZY is now Mercury. Is going to move in with the lasso. Finger committed. They really want the Dragon Knight and now the Soulbind. It's going to hold two of them down as Crush, he's got a double. In they move though with the Exorcism up. They're going to try and force the fight, but Unknown, he's happy to just man up with the Eye of Skadi up now, chasing down Enryu. He wants the DP first, and he might just have him as CZY. A great stun committed. Fortune Soul now the last target they can ask for, and they'll just surround him. Fortune Soul knows he has no way out of that. And this is that point where things become ultra difficult for Neon.
It's going to be so hard for them to find an angle in. They've been trying to play aggressive with the Infest onto the DK. Just the hesitation that you pointed out, Mike, it's costing them. Now Roshan's fully open, 2 lives to go the way of Unknown. Dealing with those 2 lives and Morphin just feels impossible. You've got the Basher up on Crush. So again, more control through the BKBs. And for Neon, it feels like a lot of this is starting to rely on Chuan. They need to be able to get a good curse off. They can't just throw that spell willy-nilly. They have to find an opening to use that in their team fight, as that is their big team fight control. You can follow that through with a good Kisses timing. It should lead to a lot of soft targets that the Lifestealer and the DK can handle. But it's easier said than done. Summit, they're at this point where, you know, Unknown's just going into the full Daedalus. His outfit's looking great. Pings out down bot.
Chuan gonna get caught out here. Will Cold Embrace immediately, but knows he's got no way out of this. We're hoping for the blink to come off cooldown with the Cold Embrace, but just not gonna happen here. Another nice kill here for Summit. Neon slowly starting to prepare for the top tier 2 tower defense. The problem is though, you saw how hard it is going to be to try and take down Unknown now on the Morphling. He's got an Aegis up on top of that. A Chrysalis available now, going right into the Daedalus, and you've got to start asking yourself at what point Fortune Soul can really start to fight back against this Morph. Maybe once he has the Eye of Skadi of his own, but even then it does still seem rather tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. You need ideal circumstances to come true here for Neon. And again, those opportunities haven't been showing themselves all too often. Still lined up down bot here, though.
Well, Mercury's got a double damage. Save. Solar Guardian immediately out, so that's going to be a Snapfire dead. Mercury, oh, he's found Avatar mode. He sees the Dragon Knight as well. They'll secure another. Avatar, he's going to BKB up, and we'll try for the TP out. In fact, they won't have another. Avatar mode is fine. Meanwhile, mid lane, Fortune Soul, he's going to be fine, but Enryu, maybe not so much. The right click damage is going to be way too high from Unknown. His 7th kill on the game now on the Morphling. And it seems like they're going to be able to prepare for this mid tier 2 tower now, Summit.
Yep, just lining up for the objectives, starting to put even more pressure onto the side of Neon. No real defense can come through. I mean, they've got the curse. So if Chuan again finds a good angle, they could still try to work this towards their favor. And for Summit's end, they are being a bit patient, waiting for the free wave to come back in. They did expand some of their big spells, no Finger, no Solar Guardian for a bit longer, no Lasso for a bit longer, so can't really push the aggression too far. Could be an opening for Neon if they catch maybe a support or two kind of straggling along. Not looking for that. Bot tier 2 falls, mid under pressure. Can just go for the high ground push for the Aegis here on Summit's end. And for Neon, and they do have good high ground defense. They catch out CZY.
That they do, but Say's kind of alone here. Unknown. Oh, that's a great Earth Spike. He walked right back into it. It's a bit unfortunate for Say getting caught out, but I suppose he was dead anyway. Mid tier 2 is gone. No problems in Summit. They may as well try for a high ground attempt. They've got 2 minutes on the Aegis. They've got a Daedalus on the way for Unknown. There's just nothing to be afraid about here for Summit.
Yep, they've got all the tools they could possibly ask for the high ground push. And Neon need a good
Nice
curse.
Well, there's the curse you asked for, John. Right onto the Bat Rider. That'll be 1 down. Mercury, no chance of surviving that. Henry, rather Unknown. He's still not afraid to keep going here, John. Oh, even Chuan going for the Orchid build-up now, just feeling like he needs more damage with his team. See, the silence will help. They've got to get through this first life of Unknown, but they're going to go into the backside and try to set up on the supports instead. Silence is there onto the Morphling, but that's going to wear off eventually as Crush does come in. Chuan is being targeted and does go down. Into more they go, Neon. They're going to try for the line, and they do find CCY, but can they deal with the Morphling now? Just look at the damage. Avatar's already gone. Unknown's literally taken no damage himself as they go after Enryu now with the crits flying out. This Morphling is a real darn problem as Enryu. He's going to be cookied away, but Unknown's still going for a bit of a chase. They find Sei on the Snapfire instead, and Fortune Soul, can he get himself out? It looks like the answer might just be yes. He does armor toggle at the exact right time. But I can't say the same for the mid-Brax as, well, Unknown. He's going to have a fun time here in the mid lane. Keep in mind, John, he still has the Aegis up. He'll jump in again onto Enryu. They're going to find the DP. Fortune Soul, it's back to the fountain for you, sir.
Yeah, they do have buyback. Snapfire coming in a few seconds. They could try to make a play, but without the curse, well, they do have curse back up. Maybe if Chuan again finds a good angle, could buy them some time.
And there's your curse, but a quick Ghost Scepter out. Oh, Trazam, that's fast. Hey, he's still going to drop, but Chuan's going to pay his respects over. That was a very quick reaction from Trazam with the Ghost Scepter. His Crush, he's in again. Fortune Soul, he's going to save with the Infest, trying to protect Sei, but look at the damage. Unknown's destroying him. Fortune Soul finally ends up getting crushed, but it's going to cost his own life, surely. Unless the Dragon Tail, it does buy a bit of time for him to get back towards the fountain, and now Avatar mode. He can try to turn his way back into this fight. His Avatar trying to back off, but now Unknown, with the Arctic Burn, with the bonus range, is really going to start hurting them. Still, they'll go again. X is out, Finger out, they've got Avatar now. Fortune Soul's going to keep trying. Try and man fight this Morphling. Ive Skadi is available at least, so Unknown is taking some form of damage, but Enryu's gone. They call it. Chuan has seen enough. And sadly for Neon, John, while they do win one single game, they will not be able to pull off a series victory here in Division 2 of the SCA DPC. And, well, for Summit, that's very good news, considering they are still in the running to stay in Div 2.
Yeah, they've got themselves kind of tied up now for 4th position, so there's still a good chance of them staying in, but it does feel like the ideal circumstance for them is still a long road ahead. You know, it's not fully in the clear. We still have a lot of games left here in Div 2. They play spectacularly well in this series, at least in Game 3 and Game 1. They managed to do a great job. Neon showing some signs of life in Game 2. Unfortunately for Neon, I mean, this is such a storied team, you know, coming into the DPC, going to the Singapore Major with a different lineup, then kind of reforming in this set of tours, not quite panning out. It's going to be a tough road for them, but, you know, there's potential there. They've got the foundations with veterans like Enryu, Chuan, newer players like Avatar Mode, Bell and Se. We'll have to see if they can regroup, but unfortunately for them, that's the end of their journey here in the DPC. We'll have to see how they bounce back. I'm not sure how it works for bottom teams for TI qualifiers, though.
Right.
So I don't know if that means they're still in the running for TI qualifiers, starting from the lower bracket, or if they have to play through open qualifiers. That's still a bit nebulous. You know, TI is still months away, but it's also close enough that these questions should start to get answered soon, I feel.
I hope so, John, because I've been kind of asking myself the same question. Did the knocked out teams still get to qualify, or at least have a chance? And you just don't know at the moment. But yeah, like you said, hopefully soon we'll get some answers going here with this DPC format. Well, for now we're going to be waiting for an interview, just so everyone's aware. Of course, our next series, I'll let you know very, very soon, as I am having some issues. But we are going to have TNC Predator against Atlantis coming up next for our second series of the night, before we do go into Division 1, of course, with Boom Esports versus T1. A classic Rambulan, as we like to say, Jonathan, and a very hype matchup between the two. Still, we are going to have to get through an interview first here with somebody from Summit, and I am looking very forward to to speaking with them and hearing their thoughts here, John.
Yes.
I know you and I were,
Absolutely.
you know, we were. It was kind of hard to sugarcoat that game too. So I want to hear what the idea was. And again, John, you and I are idiots. So chances are we're wrong about something, and there'll be some explanation. But we'll find out very, very soon.
Yep.
Just a bit of waiting game right now, John. Still, you were telling me earlier you were buying something for the shop, Jonathan. How's business going?
This has been good. Initial expenditures have been going up, but it is what it is. ROI should still be good. So that ice cream selling well, Mike. And we do have our interview. It is Unknown that's going to be joining us here.
All right, let me just drag him in here.
I'll drag him down.
All right. Hello, Mr. Unknown. Congratulations on your victory, sir. How you doing?
Feeling well.
Very,
Yeah,
very. Yeah.
it's a really good game for us.
Yeah.
Good series.
Absolutely. Unknown, I'm going to get straight into the meat of this interview. I've got to ask you about Game 2. Because Game 2 looked a bit funny to us, and I was just kind of wondering how it went down for you guys. Like, what do you think went wrong in Game 2 against Neon for Summit?
I think we make a lot wrong decision in the team fight, and yeah, I think we didn't communicate well also. So yeah, I think we try our best. Yeah, so we fix it at game 3.
Okay. I mean, you guys did look rather... Go on, John. You ask.
No, I'm just a bit curious because in game 1, I think we saw you guys perform spectacularly well. It looked like you guys managed to hold on against that early onslaught from Neon. They were pretty aggressive. It was looking a bit rough. They didn't have a big advantage, but the pressure was there. And game 2, you guys had a spectacular start. I'm curious about that mid-game decision making. Like you mentioned, some of that was getting a bit loose there for Summit. The itemization just looked a little bit different than I think what we expected. Was it that just from confidence that you guys were ahead enough that maybe you could just go for these different builds instead of going back to game 1 with a triple BKB core lineup?
I think that for my personal view is I feel like they lack of a lot of stuns. Only Tiny is the initiator for them, and so I prefer to go S&Y instead of BKB. But I don't think I never expect the outcome will be like that. So yeah, it's my own personal issue. Yeah. So we perform badly. Yeah. So we fix it quickly in game 3 and we get a series.
That you certainly did, Unknown. That you guys did fix it real darn fast. And I gotta ask, like going into your next series here, I believe you have one series left against Atlantis. Obviously, with this win, you guys are a little bit safer in Division 2. But against Atlantis, are you guys confident going into that matchup? Do you think they're a strong team? What are you thinking?
And they also consider as a good team for us. We at least we still have the chance to fight them and try to stay in Division 2. Yeah, I believe we can do it.
Oh, certainly so. I believe you can too, Unknown. I think it should be a pretty good matchup between you two. John, is there anything else you have?
No, I think that covers it. I'm curious though. So we're going into 2A qualifiers after this DPC league, of course, after the majors. Is there any team that you think you'd look forward to playing up against in all of Southeast Asia? Like any particular team you'd want to face in those regional qualifiers?
I never think so far for now. Yeah, I think we just go step by step. Yeah.
Oh,
so
fair enough.
That's fair enough, Unknown.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your victory once again, and well, we wish you the best of luck in your next series, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye. That was lovely, Unknown. I mean, look, John, I'll say it. He did have an explanation. Sounds good enough to me. Unknown, in my opinion, like looking at Pos 1's up and coming, I do like this guy. My eyes have been on Unknown for quite a bit of time. It's the particular heroes that he plays. Like when you see Unknown pick up the Morph, for example, as we saw in game number 3, he looks very strong. He looks like one of those carry players that has a very high mechanical base. And you do love to see that coming out. So looking forward to big things here from a team like Summit, or at least the players from Summit. And again, congrats to them, Jonathan. Obviously, it was a bit of a rough series, but they're getting it together. They're trying. They're not out of Div 2 yet. Still, with that,
they get to fight.
Sorry about that, John. Did you want to say anything else?
No problem.
No?
No, they get to fight longer and learn more because this is a team that went through open qualifiers. A lot of room to learn here.
Absolutely. With that, though, we are going to head off to a very short break, because right after that break, we have our second series of the night. It's going to be between TNC Predator and Atlanta, so don't go anywhere. It is MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll be back ASAP for our second series of the night. See you then.